Hey guys, this is Weds. Just got some news from following Thomas on Twitter. While I was making another video, he's got this post about changing the attribute system because it's not working out. In any case, it is right here on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And it's also on Reddit. It is quite a lengthy conversation. So I'm going to go use the Reddit instead because it's bigger, and I'm going to zoom it so people can see what is being said. Anyway, as you can see, this from Thomas Smaller Twitter statement on attributes. They posted this on Twitter, and he said, folks, one thing that's become abundantly clear to us is that the attribute system has to die. We've always been a bit wary of using the system, but we wanted to go ahead with it anyway, since it's a system that other big games in the genre use, and we thought that because of that, people would get it. After having analyzed the data, people clearly don't get it. The reason why this system works in Souls games is because your stats in Souls don't matter all that much, which is why SL1 runs are a thing. But giving players the illusion of choice is just not a good design in my book, which is why we try to have the best of both worlds by having an attribute system. And making the stats actually matter, turns out that's literally equivalent to giving players a rope to hang themselves with. Here are some of the issues we're seeing. Players automatically assume that a level 20 character will just naturally be stronger than a level 1 character. We see a lot of players only putting points into the supported attributes like health, stamina, focus, or equip load, while barely putting any points into their main attributes, and then they wonder why their character isn't getting stronger. We assumed that because players can clearly see the weapon damage going up as they put points into strength, if they have a strength weapons equipped, they would connect the dots. Turns out a lot of players didn't. We see a lot of players using a strength weapon while putting a lot of their points into dex or other main attributes, which essentially results in players having insanely underpowered builds without understanding why. In an attribute system, your character is defined by how you spend your attribute points. If you never put any points into the attribute that the weapon of your choice scales with, your level 20 character will be just as strong as your level 1 character, because we gave player the choice. But the player made the wrong choices and then blames the game instead of themselves. The good thing is we knew this since early access launch, and this is the one big heart surgery change that I've been talking about for a while. We have the design for a new system ready that will need to get implemented, and we'll very slowly roll that out so that this new system goes through an enormous amount of testing and fine-tuning before it ever gets released as an actual patch. Ultimately, I'm taking inspiration from the system Yasumi Matsuno came up with in order to fix this situation. We will ensure that leveling up feels insanely addictive and that each level up allows the player to only make good choices while still allowing for a wide variety of builds to be made, including insane builds that make no sense, but still work out anyway. But we have to ensure that players can't that easily break their characters by making wrong choices this early on. We even had internal developers at Moon making some baffling choices regarding their attributes. So it's just extremely clear that we have to make a pretty drastic change here. I am personally extremely excited about this change and think it will make the leveling experience so much better. Hang tight, we got you covered. And there you have it, guys. Now, for some new players that may not understand what's going on, so for instance, what they're talking about, so if I look at my weapons real quick, the one that I have equipped, since I am a mage build, and it scales with intelligence. So if I look at my weapon, all these weapons that I'm carrying, they have intelligence. They scales with intelligence. So this tells me that I need to put points in intelligence if I want to do some damage. So if I go to the stats, as you can see, I make sure that I have some in health, some in stamina because I want to be able to use the weapon. And I also make sure that I have enough points in intelligence so I can do damage. And you can look at the stats for each weapon. One of the weapons I'm only using for passive abilities, but not for damage. So that's the reason why it is so low. And then when you look at, since you need focus to use the weapons, and I make sure that I put a lot of points in focus. That way I'm able to use this as much as possible. And also I put some points in equip load. That way I don't get too heavy and be a mess in the battlefield. Anyway, all I can say, if you are a new player trying out the game, so the best thing you can do for yourself, if you pick up a weapon that you like, just see which stats that it scales with. If it is strength, make sure you put a lot of points in strength so you can do damage and enjoy the game. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.